Here's the best 2023 ad advice from insanely successful advertisers. Starting off, Wes has a brilliant omnipresent Reels strategy, and here's the first piece of it.
I call it the omnipresent Reels strategy. Omnipresent just means showing up over and over again in a smart sequence of ads that consistently put you in front of your target audience more often than your competition. And it mimics the way people might naturally find you online, gradually getting to know, like, and trust you. This sequence just puts it all on hyperdrive, helping quickly move people from never heard of you before all the way through I'm ready, take my money now. Meanwhile, your competition will just fall away into the sea of mediocre Instagram advertisers banging their heads on the propeller of negative ROI. And this strategy works best using the Instagram Reels ad placement. It's where the most eyeballs are on the platform right now, since it's what Instagram's pushing the most. They're no longer an image sharing app, they're in the short form video business, and they want you to be making Reels. So if you give them what they want, they'll reward you with more views for less money. Now, this is a two-phase strategy. So phase one involves just a single specific Reel ad designed to attract your ideal customers, and then phase two involves a specific variety of Reels, each created to hit on a different psychological trigger that all add up to your prospects feeling like they know you and what you can do for them. So this works dramatically better than just throwing out a single ad asking for a sale and just hoping it hits, because it never does. So let's jump right into phase one, where we'll create what I call your magnet ad. So this ad shouldn't even remotely resemble an ad, okay? It isn't gonna mention your business or your paid services at all. The only goal of this reel is to attract the right people who would be perfect customers and get them to watch at least part of your video and to get everyone else to just swipe on past. A great all-purpose prompt for your reel would be to think of your ideal customer's biggest problem or stumbling block that's in their way right now. Then just make a short video giving them the one piece of advice or the 3 tips or the truth behind the common myth that's standing in their way. The idea is you're inspiring them that what they want is possible, and maybe you're even giving them a shortcut to a quick win that they can achieve on their own. For instance, if you're a window cleaning company, you might start out saying something like, if you can't keep the outsides of your second-story windows clean, here's a secret trick you can use. Then you'd simply teach them the trick or the 3 tips, or give them the best expert advice on your subject. And when it comes to budget, I recommend starting out setting this right around $10 or so. This is going to be enough to start building your custom audience of your best customer matches. So who will you show your phase one magnet ad to? Generally speaking, the more wide open you can leave your targeting, the more leeway you're giving Facebook to put its algorithm to good use. And spoiler alert, the Facebook algorithm is smarter than any human brain could ever hope to be, so trust it to work out for itself who your best prospects would be. The only reason you might want to narrow it down is if you're a local business, in which case you'll specify the geographic area you want your ads to show in. Or if you're a super niche business, like if only hairstylists or classic car collectors would be interested in what you have to offer. In that case, you might want to apply a very basic interest targeting option, but easy does it here. You definitely don't want to get too granular and restrict that algorithm from doing its thing.
The next one's great. Andrew shares how to see the exact number of people who watch more than 3 seconds of your video ad.
Next one I want to show you is the video hook rate. This metric tells me how many people are actually stopping and watching my video past the 3-second mark. The reason that's helpful is because the intro to a video ad is very, very important. If people don't actually get hooked in the first few seconds and keep watching, then that means you need to change that intro. So by tracking this, you can tell which videos have good introductions, which videos don't, and you know which ones you really need to work on. So to set up the video hook rate, all you need to do is, again, go into columns, customize columns, and create your new custom metric. I'll give this one a name. And the formula for this one is 3-second video views divided by the number of impressions. So how many people actually stayed and watched the video for 3 seconds out of all of the impressions that this particular video ad got. Again, we're going to choose percentage because that's the most valuable way to display this particular metric. And then I'm going to click create metric. Tick that box, hit apply. Now we can see we've got that new metric inside the ad manager. And again, we can see that it varies greatly between different video ads that I'm running, and that's going to help inform me to make better video ads in the future. And then the third one I'm going to show you is the video hold rate. So this tells me after somebody starts watching my video for 3 seconds or more, how many of them actually continue and watch for 15 seconds or more. So that tells me once I've hooked them, how many of them actually hold on and keep watching. Again, this helps me further analyze, understand the performance of my video ads, and then improve them in the future. So to set up video hold rate, this is how we do it. The formula is through plays, meaning 15-second video views, divided by 3-second video plays. Again, I'll choose percentage, and then select my new hold rate metric, click apply, and now you can see I've got that here in the ad manager as well.
Next, Molly describes why interest-based targeting may be completely out of date in 2023.
I think when you're thinking about these paid social platforms, we are past the demographics really even being useful because those are over-targeted. They're not always even correct. So when we speak about people, we say this person likes this. This person is looking for this outcome. Not really this person is this age or this person makes this much money. Not that that's not important and that it shouldn't be a part of the avatar picture in your brain, but specifically for paid ads, we're looking more at because think about on social media, what are you leaving a trace of that you're being targeted by? It's literally what you like, it's what you search. You're not really telling Facebook, hey, I make, X amount of money a year. You're saying, hey, I went and visited this pet store last week and that. So yeah, of course. So one of our clients is targeting moms and, more so the, let's say 7 to 13 age, but we're not even using the parents' age group targeting in there because it's so overused. We're coming up with interest ideas. So we're targeting, clothing companies that are making clothes of kids that age. We're targeting bloggers or different organizations, parent-teacher association, right? We're targeting any books that person might be reading about parenting, magazines, TV shows. Think about not only the fact that we cannot see what is true in the platform any longer. Think about how that is affecting the performance of your campaigns from an algorithm standpoint. So it's not just us that can't see, Facebook also cannot see. So if Facebook loses, let's say 30 to 40% of their data, probably more, essentially overnight, and you're telling Facebook, hey, I want you to go find buyers. I want purchases. I want people to buy my stuff. And they have all of this data to aggregate and use about who that person is and, why they purchased. Well, now they've lost a lot of that data. That also makes the platform not as powerful. And that's why it's good for people like us that are good marketers. And the whole conversation we're going to have today is presenting a much bigger opportunity because the lazy marketers, let's say, I mean that with love, it's not working anymore, right? You can't just say, hey, Facebook, here's my product. Go find buyers for me. You actually have to craft a good offer. You have to craft a solid marketing campaign and know what you're doing.
Heath covers if you should only advertise on Instagram or send your ads to both Facebook and Instagram.
So I recently polled my audience on YouTube and 76% of people said that Facebook produced better results than Instagram. Go into Ads Manager and then take a look at breakdown by platform and then take a look at your CPMs, Facebook versus Instagram. When we do this for our clients, what we often see is that in terms of advertising efficacy, Facebook and Instagram are virtually identical. So if we put an ad in front of 1,000 people on Facebook and we put an ad in front of 1,000 people on Instagram, we're likely to generate the same number of conversions. However, because Facebook is now, let's say 20 to 40% cheaper than Instagram, we are therefore seeing better results on Facebook. Something that you might want to factor into your own advertising decisions. You might want to just go Facebook if you're seeing that. You may want to advertise on both, which is what I would recommend if you are using a conversion-based objective where you are able to optimize for your end result. If Meta is seeing, for example, that you're getting better results on Facebook than Instagram, more of your budget will be diverted there and vice versa. Whilst there are overall platform trends, and I've described those, there's also some reality to the fact that different businesses will see better results on different platforms. If you're apparel-based or very much visual casual in terms of what you offer, maybe Instagram's the better option. If you're selling something a little bit more serious to maybe a slightly older demographic, Facebook's almost certainly going to win for you. So you want to be able to take a look at your own data and adjust for your business. The really important message here is that if you are ignoring Facebook and just advertising on Instagram right now, don't.
See if you can guess which one of these retargeting ads perform best and why.
These are all advertisements that are targeting people who visited our shopping cart and abandoned the shopping cart. They were on the cart, they had a product in the cart, and then they said, you know what, I'm out of here, I'm taking off, I'm done, I'm not interested at this time. And we are running an advertisement to get their attention and get them back to our product. Now, when I point out the differences in these three images, the one on the left has emojis, as you can see, as part of the ad copy. The ad copy itself is the exact same. The one on the left has emojis. The one on the right has emojis. Everyone has a different image. Otherwise, they're basically identical, okay? And the goal here is to get someone to send us a message because we're using Facebook Messenger as a means to deliver a coupon to them, right? Now, if you were to guess, listener, watcher, which of these three ads performed the best? What I will tell you first is that number one, all the way to the left with the three women, got absolutely annihilated, meaning it performed half as well as these other two.
Yeah, there's no branding on it. And if they just left your cart, they're familiar with Boom. So.
Right, they're familiar with the product. So what Molly just pointed out is looking at these three different ads, someone who's at this particular stage of the purchase journey who had a product in their cart and left is not gonna identify with three random women, even though if you look close, they are holding the product. Pop back to that. If you look close, they are holding the product, but you can't see it. Whereas on the other two ads that performed pretty equally, except for one did, maybe 30% better, so not pretty equally, but they performed significantly better than the other one. I think it's because the hero shots of the product is
absolutely.
Right there. Okay.
And they say boom.
They say boom. They say our ads. The one in the middle outperformed the one on the right by 30%. $8 cost per conversion versus $12 cost per conversion.
And you're building those subscribers in Messenger.
And we're building those subscribers in Messenger. So this ad right here won by a large margin. Why do we think that is?
We're offering a discount in all three, but the product that they just looked at, right? Or, a similar product, it's right there, right? The colors are the same. Even I think everything with this has to do with the image. The one on the right is cool, but the one in the middle really has the same colors. It's got the branding from the site, so there's just familiarity there.
Next, Dara shows the two copy types that are getting clicks on Instagram, and one of these
is going to be super short form, actually. And this is going to be a introduction to the brand or a specific introduction to the product. And I really try to keep these between 1 to 2 sentences long tops. Now, this type of copy tends to do really well on Instagram, as you might imagine, because it shows up on the entire feed caption section, because I think you can only have 2 lines or something there. So if you have a really punchy line about your brand, this is where I often find brands like experimenting with their branding tagline and their branding messaging. That can be really cool. I also see a number of brands just doing something like meet brand name and then giving a really small clip about the brand, and that tends to do pretty well for them as well. And sometimes it's going to be diving into more about the product, especially if you have a product that requires just a little bit of explanation. If you can do it in 1 sentence or 2 sentences, then that would definitely be a type of ad copy to try. The final one is what I would say the most difficult, but it's also the one that I see that works the most, which is a long form founder story. Now, this is going to feel like a diary entry. This is going to feel like a very long saga, but I have actually seen that utilizing really long ad copy, especially in the form of a founder story, people actually tend to read that because they're really interested to see the behind the scenes, to understand why someone built this product. And it really does in many ways serve as a sort of pre-landing page for your customers to learn more about the product, but not just about your product, but also the why behind your product, which is so important. I've really seen personal storytelling be something that really moves the needle for ad creative, talking about personal history, talking about personal experiences, and being more intimate with your user about your problems. That's something that I see that people really respond well to. So if you can have a long form founder story that does that, I often find find that that is the ad copy that tends to do it best again and again and again.
Here's exactly how Stitch Fix created a top-performing ad.
The company introduces the brand and immediately establishes value for the target audience. The ad also establishes that the subject is an actual customer and not just a paid actor. And that can go a really long way for establishing trust, as customers are your best brand champions. Now, this ad does a really good job of objection handling. It says there's no subscription and that there's free shipping and returns, and risk reversal is a powerful selling tool. Within seconds, the viewer understands the main product benefits, that this is super convenient and is completely customizable. And it's doing this at the same time as giving you a visual understanding of how the product works. And product demonstrations are super powerful and actually one of the most effective styles of ads. This ad does a phenomenal job of taking you through the entire customer journey, showing you how simple it is, but also showcasing the amazing outcome that you'll get if you become a customer. Within the first 2 seconds of this video, we already understand what problem this product is solving. It's going to be our own personal stylist. Now, while not every video ad needs an extremely high level of production value, this is a product that benefits from it because it's clothing, and the entire video makes the subject look beautiful and confident. And that's exactly how you would want to feel if you became a customer. Lastly, this ad ends with a clear call to action.
I don't see nearly enough people using this copywriting strategy. Get people's imagination going and get as descriptive as possible with touch and smell and taste and just how everything feels. So it could be like a piercing shriek that just almost bursts your eardrum, or just gooey, slow moving, super warm chocolate, or ice cold wind that just cuts through all of your clothing and you just feel the chill down to your core. This is a fantastic way to actually get them to feel emotions and actually envision them using your product or getting a benefit or dealing with the pain. It's much, much more effective. I also think like comparing and contrasting can be pretty effective. So you want to think about your competition. Often I don't directly call them out by name, but it can kind of just be you versus the competitors. So let's say the potato chip example, you just take your average bag of potato chips and it's like them, oh, they've got no protein and we've got 6 grams of protein. They've got this many calories, this much fat, where you can directly see the two comparing contrasted. It's a really cool visual way and good way to use text to show, hey, here's how we're different than all of the competitors, than the potato chip industry, just for this example. Next, Amanda has a genius retargeting hack, and
She calls this hack surround sound retargeting.
I'm actually really excited about this right now because we're seeing insane results, from 4% click-through rates when the averages are like 0.5% to 20% sales conversion rates on this type of ad, but doing it in a world-building style. So we're not just relying on like one single ad anymore. We are saying, hey, somebody who's taken an action and clicked through to the sales page, let's do this surround sound effect so that they're seeing us over and over again with different creative types, so that they're clicking over to the sales page and they're making that purchase transaction. So layering these retargeting ads.
Cool. So this is essentially retargeting your website traffic, but it sounds like what's different about this strategy is you're actually going for a series of ads, and each of them, hits on something different. So what are some of the different angles that business owners can take when they're coming up with these surround sound ads?
So what's behind me here on the wall is actually an example sales page of a client of mine. And so what I like to do as somebody who works on the computer all the time is bring it into the analog world. Take that page that we're trying to send traffic to and print it out so that we can see it from top to bottom. And then my process for this is I just read the page from start to finish, and I think about what are the different elements of this sales page, right? Like there might be a testimonial over here that we could extract off of that page. We already have the copy for it because it's live either on that sales page or that lead magnet landing page. And then we'll just turn it into an ad. ad.
So the idea here is to get as many different angles or hooks that each speak to a different pain point or benefit or result or social proof, and create anywhere from 3 to 10 different ads out of those. And this can work extremely well in the long run. The only downside is that it doesn't necessarily produce great results right away. So they're definitely still worth doing. You just need to be patient to see the results.
Something that I see people doing a lot is trying to make their ads novels, right? Like they want to tell the entire story on the ad itself. But sometimes it can be as easy as a sentence or two with a compelling image, or even without. You can do a Facebook ad for the news feed without an image or a headline in it, with a link, and getting people clicking over to that landing page or sales page.
Yeah, you heard that right. Amanda actually recommends and teaches to her paid students this crazy hack that uses no image, no video, and even no headline at all. And the reason it works is because it actually feels organic in a way that no other ad ever feels. And she actually gets really good click-through rates whenever she uses it.
Yeah, I really like them. I call them stealth ads, where you go to your Facebook page and you create the ad, right? It's going to show up organically the first time. You put in the body copy, you put the link in it. Of course, you want that link to get them over to the sales page or the landing page. But then you can go into Ads Manager using any objective, any targeting, and just say, hey, Facebook, I want to use this existing post from my Facebook page as the ad. And they'll just pull it up with no image and no headline, and it blends right in. It looks like it's just coming from a friend in your newsfeed.
Building on that, Adam covers the best way to implement a retargeting strategy this year.
Switch up your retargeting strategy and move away from your sources and towards meta sources, which essentially just means creating custom audiences to target based off how people have engaged with your content inside the app, rather than focusing on creating audiences off of website visitors or your email list. Now, website visitors, your email list, and your customer list still have a viable and valuable part in your overall retargeting strategy. But the power of those off-app audiences like your website visitors and your email list are now significantly reduced due to Facebook and Instagram's inability to kind of match them up with its users inside the app. To create these audiences, all you need to do is go into your Facebook Ads Manager, click on Audiences, and then create a custom audience. And these are the 4 that you want to create. First, video views. For the engagement section, I like to choose people who have watched 25% of your video. If you have a video that's longer than, say, 3 to 4 minutes, you may want to go with through play, as asking someone to consume 25% of a 3 to 4 minute video is a pretty big ask. For retention, which is the number of days someone will remain in your audience after consuming your content, I like 90 days. This gives me a good mix between having enough people to target a sufficient enough audience, as well as making sure that I'm staying relevant and top of mind. People don't forget about me. This way I'm able to take advantage of the mere exposure effect like I talked about earlier. Then just give it a name, add a description if you want, and you're good to move on to the next audience, lead form. If you're running lead ads, then creating a retargeting lead form audience is an obvious and very profitable move. And much of the same targeting and selection options are pretty much the same here as they were for video views. For event selection, you have 3 options. First, anyone who opened this form. Next, people who opened but didn't submit the form. And finally, people who opened and submitted the form. My advice here is to start by focusing on the people who opened but did not submit the form, and target them with the following 3 ads. First, show them the exact same ad again, as this is going to capture the people who were just too busy, got distracted. Next, show them an ad that presents or makes the same offer but with a different message or a different image. And third, show them an ad that makes a completely new offer. For example, if you're selling a course, well, try offering one-on-one coaching or consulting. Or if you're selling a done-for-you service, try offering a cheaper, more budget-friendly, done-with-you, or do-it-yourself option. Or if you're selling...
This is genius. I think microbrands could be the future of online advertising, and here's why.
Now what we have done is we have 10 what we call microbrands. And that's really what, if you're paying attention right here, this is the evolution of performance marketing, and this is a massive model that I think is going to be super important. I don't care if you're selling healthcare products, you're selling marketing products, you're selling other stuff as an affiliate, baby products, whatever it is that you want to sell, create a micro brand. Get a logo created, a quick, easy WordPress site, start getting content, usually do something you're passionate about, you can write some content on there, And then create a lead magnet, create a guide, a report, something free that's of value, and make sure that this is actually something that borderline you would probably charge for it, right? You're like, I could probably charge $7 for this thing or $39. It's that good. These are all mistakes that we've made in the past, trying to like get things out quicker or whatever. No, make this thing extremely valuable. And then what you do is you go out and you buy your media and you're advertising this thing. But the difference now is you can do just what I said, just acquire and build your list, build your audience. Or what you can do is now what we do is we do a co-branded. So we actually will go to somebody like Agora and we'll take one of their gurus and we'll actually take their content, create an ebook with his face on it, and we will do it under that micro brand. So one of our brands is called tradestocks.com. We'll take a guy who's got an options course, we'll create a free content, videos, all this material, and then we will go in and serve these ads out. And then when they go to the landing page, it says that we're going to share this contact with this group, with this company. And it's co-branded. It's got the name of that other company on there. It's got that guy's face on there. It's got his bio on there. And as soon as they convert the lead, that lead is now being split. It goes onto my list and it's going onto their list. And again, we'll charge that on a cost per lead or cost per acquisition basis.
This value equation from Alex Hormozi is a brilliant way to boost your results.
Dream outcome is people actually have to want the thing that you're delivering to them, number one. Number two is that when they buy, they will buy based on the perceived likelihood that they're actually going to get that thing. So it's like a lot of people may want to get rich, but they will buy the one that they think that has the highest likelihood of actually them getting there, right? Or a lot of people might want to look skinny, but they'll work with the physician that has worked with 10,000 patients rather than their first patient because their perceived likelihood of actually getting skinny or getting the surgery they want is higher. And they in a very real way value it more. Time delay is how quickly something can happen, right? Is between when I buy and when I get, if we can compress that time horizon or that timeline, the more valuable it is. If I can get you a 6-pack in 30 days versus 6-pack in 30 months, which one do you value more? Of course, the 30 days one. So we try and compress the time horizon along how we deliver our products and services. And then finally, effort and sacrifice are the things that we have to start doing that we don't want to do, or we have to give up doing that we do want to do as a result of the purchase. And so in a perfect world, we want to deliver someone the dream outcome, and when they buy it because they have extremely high likelihood or they're certain that they're going to achieve that, and they're going to achieve it overnight with ease, right? So fast, easy, and exactly what they want, the way they want it to be delivered.
Here's 2 massive Instagram ad mistakes and 2 strategies to fix them. I do meet with a lot of people who say, hey, let's just use existing photos. We don't need any fancy photo shoots. We don't need to spend a lot of time and resources on really creative videos, but also we want our ad sales to be $1 million this year. And those 2 things just don't connect. If you want crazy success with Facebook ads, you're gonna need to risk money, put in a ton of time and effort, run a crazy amount of tests, and be incredibly patient. Sometimes it works well to do photos or a simpler video to test out an angle or a way to frame the offer, and then to do a more creative, elaborate video once you've kind of proven that that's a good angle. Another huge mistake is changing a campaign that's already working. If it has campaign budget optimization or CBO, don't touch anything. And if it's optimized at the ad set level, don't touch the ad sets that are doing well. The only thing that I'm gonna do is gradually turn up the spend or turn down the spend depending on its performance. You constantly want to be actually testing different audiences and different ads, but I will do a brand new campaign or series of campaigns to test that. Because if you're just throwing in new ads, it really messes with the performance and things like that. And then often I like taking from all these tests and things like that, rolling this into like an even larger campaign with a bigger budget. Next, try this strategy if you want more accurate Instagram ad tracking.
Should we rely more on Google Analytics data, Facebook data, a combination of all of them? Because when we're making these decisions, knowing full well that some of this information might not be complete,
right.
How do we react to that? You know what I mean?
Right. That is one of the hardest things because it is, Facebook's also doing kind of a little bit of a predictive analysis now on their results. So, it's a little bit fuzzier, but I've found that actually since last year, the results are a little bit more accurate that I've, in terms of when we're like measuring, when we're able to track like actual results versus what Facebook is reporting. So I think it's the tracking within Facebook is getting a little bit better. But it is sort of about like taking all the options you have, nothing is going to be perfect. And then saying, okay, best guess how many, if we've got Google Analytics, we've got Facebook Analytics, maybe we have our back end tracking some, in a different way. And of course, the back end tracking is probably going to be the most accurate because that's actual sales. So, you're doing some of that, but you're maybe also making sure that you've got the conversion API set up so that the server's giving you a little bit more accurate results with your Facebook reporting. Maybe you have a different reporting system that you use. There's lots of reporting systems out there that, kind of try and make that tracking as accurate as possible. So it is a challenge. And I think it's about just kind of taking a look at all the data and kind of making some best guess assumptions with that.
And here is something that a lot of people are still missing.
You need to make sure that every single ad you're running has one clear and concise call to action. If you're trying to get a conversion on a specific product, stop mentioning all of the other products you sell. Keep people focused on the one single action you want them to take or the one offer you want them to purchase. If you're not trying a variety of formats, your audience is not going to be able to show you what they prefer or what's working best. This could include video, but also different styles of video, shorter form versus longer form, maybe animated versus talking head. You also could do things like carousels, which can work very well and are not used nearly enough. You could also test single image ads if you have not been using those, or even animated style images. An easy way to test out a new creative format is to simply take an ad that's already working and ask yourself, how could I take this exact same creative but remake it in a new format?
Now, to get the full picture of what's working with Facebook and Instagram ads, you'll need to watch this video which covers Genius 2023 Facebook ad strategies. I will see you there.